What's up, everybody? It's EJ Spark, and today I'm doing the top 10 best rappers of the 2010s, and this was my favorite list to make. This was prime EJ. 2010s, I'm in my teenagers, I'm in high school, I'm in college. I mean, this was just last year. Prime EJ last year. So I had a lot of fun making this list. I mean, these are all my favorite rappers. This is one of my favorite genres. I love 2000s rap. I love 2010s rap. And we're going to get right into it. If you guys don't know my criteria for my rankings, it's in the description below. And let's get into it. And actually, while I was making this list, I was like, man, if I remade my top 50 rappers of all time list, it would be so different today. So let's get into the honorable mentions. I mean, guys, the top 5 in this list were really, really easy. Not gonna lie, top 5 or 6, but the bottom 4 were really hard for me. I feel like I have a special connection with all these artists. But here we go. Honorable mentions: Nicki Minaj, Future, Pusha T, Tyler the Creator, Schoolboy Q, A$AP Rocky, Eminem, Childish Gambino, Big Sean, Nipsey Hussle, Lupe Fiasco, Jay-Z, and Wiz Khalifa. These guys are all, I mean, they're all huge, all influential, you know, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. They're all amazing. They all did their own thing. They were all influential. This was a big decade for influential rappers. People changed the game, even from the first half of the decade to the second half, you know, when really that melodic auto-tune rapping came into place. Like, that's kind of what it is now. I feel like it's going to start shifting in the 20s as well, but all these artists deserve an honorable mention, and they could be on the top 10 of anybody's list. So let's get into the top 10. At number 10, I have the hood billionaire himself, Rick Ross. I think Rick Ross is very underrated. I think he's amazing. I think it was 2010 or 2011 or something like that on the Heat Seekers episode where they ranked the rappers. He was number 1, and I think he came above. Did he come above Kanye? He was either 1 or 2, but either way, they had him high up there, and I feel like Rick Ross is really just looked over, and I don't know why, because he's so cold with the pen. I mean, he's just amazing. His albums in the 2010s, if you guys don't know: Teflon Don, God Forgives, I Don't, Mastermind, Hood Billionaire, Black Market, Rather You Than Me, and Port of Miami too. I mean, he really pumped out albums. I don't know if he was as influential as the other rappers on this list and the rest of the top 10, but I mean, he was just amazing. So good with the flow and the lyrics. Notable songs: Sanctified, Money in the Grave, Gold Roses, and Aston Martin Music. And I feel like Rick Ross is someone that a lot of people love to collaborate with, so I mean, that gives me a good sign that he's a great artist. Works with DJ Khaled a lot, Kanye, Jay-Z, you know, just all these artists, and not to mention he started Maybach Music. So Rick Ross, number 10, he's a great artist. All right, this goes against everything that a countdown list should be, but I have a tie at number 9. I couldn't leave either of these two out, and at number 9, I have Joey Badass and Mac Miller. Now, if I redid my top 50 rappers of all time list, I think I would put Mac Miller in there somewhere. Not sure where, but I think he would definitely get in there. Number 9, I had Joey Badass. I think he was really influential. The social issues he talks about, very powerful. And he's just also cold with the pen, like I said about Rick Ross. His albums were 1999, Summer Nights, Before the Money, which looks like Badass, spelled out, and All-American Badass, and Escape from New York, which is Beast Coast, Pro Era members, and Flatbush Zombies and the Underachievers. A lot of people worked on this album, but it's very good. Notable songs by Joey Badass are Devastated, Love Is Only a Feeling, Temptation, and Legendary. I think Joey Badass, I think he's gonna be always talked about in like the top 100 rappers, top 50 rappers of all time, because he's just so slick. Everything he talks about is amazing, very influential. He's a social game changer, and he deserves to be in this list. I truly believe that. If you're not in tune with Joey Badass, you should be. I definitely didn't listen to him at first, but after he came out with, I think it was Before the Money, is when I started listening to him, and I just fell in love with the way he wrote. It's like poetry. So, and same with number 9, or tied with Mac Miller. I mean, R.I.P. Mac Miller. Very sad what happened. It sucks. We lost a great one. His voice is so smooth, a little raspy. Just love listening to his voice. And you really saw him grow throughout the decade. I really enjoy seeing growth as an artist. From his Kids mixtape, which actually came out in 2010. That was a lot of fun, you know? White boy awesome, as what he says, you know? But he really grew up with his albums that went through the decade. Blue Side Park, the Macadelic mixtape, which I think is worth noting. Watching Movies with the Sound Off, Good AM, The Divine Feminine, Swimming, and then Circles, which was a posthumous album released just a few months ago. So, notable songs: Self-Care, Weekend, Dang with Anderson .Paak, and Good News, which was released off that Circles album this year. They said those albums were supposed to be together when the producers put it together, like Swimming in Circles, which was amazing. And, you know, I've seen so many videos of Mac Miller performing live, and he's just so smooth with it. He's got a great voice. He had so much potential. I wish we could have seen where he was going, because when he released that Divine Feminine album, truly showed a more profound side to Mac Miller. So R.I.P. Mac Miller, but Mac Miller and Joey Badass tied at number 9. At number 8, I have Kid Cudi. Cleveland, rep Cleveland. He's from Cleveland. It's amazing. I have him on there because he was so influential. He really impacted a whole generation of kids, you know? Lord of the Sad and Lonely, as he called it. He's just amazing. He could connect with you like no other, and his sounds and his unique sound is what puts him up there. No one did it like Kid Cudi, and no one hums like Kid Cudi. His albums were Man on the Moon, which came out in 2009, but we're just gonna add it in there. I didn't mention it in the 2000 video, so shh. Man on the Moon 2, Indica's Satellite Flight. I actually really liked Satellite Flight, don't at me. Go listen to that again, it's very good. Speed and Bullet to Heaven, which was his punk album, which I did enjoy quite a few songs on there. Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying, which was him getting back to his roots, I feel. Some great songs on there. And Reborn, which was his collab album with Kanye West. I just feel like everything he's done, very experimental. Hi, Tucker. This is my dog, Tucker. Very experimental, and he's just great. Unique sound, very influential, impacted a whole group of kids, which is what truly being an artist means. So number 8, I have Kid Cudi. At number 7, I have Logic. I feel like Logic is very overlooked, don't you think, Tucker? I think his flow and everything he stands for is amazing. I mean, when he came out with that 1-800 song, influenced a bunch of different kids. Absolutely brilliant for that. He pumped out albums and mixtapes in the 2010s. His albums were Under Pressure, Incredible True Story, Bobby Tarantino 1 and 2 mixtapes, Everybody, YSIV, and Confessions of a Dangerous Mind mixtapes, not to mention the Supermarket soundtrack, which went along with his book that he wrote and came out with, which I actually read. And if you read that, the Supermarket soundtrack makes sense. So I would highly suggest reading Bobby Hall, aka Logic's book, Supermarket. I just think he's really great. I think his flow's amazing. He gets speed rap like no other. And, you know, he has his social issues that he addresses. And I just think Logic is amazing. His promotion of peace, positivity, and love is amazing. So yeah, Logic number 7. All right, so coming in the top 6, I think these top 6 were a lot easier for me than the bottom 4 or 5. But I have Lil Wayne at number 6. What do you think about Lil Wayne, Tuck? Lil Wayne's amazing. Mentioned him in the 2000s. He deserves to be on here. I feel like he's a little overlooked in the 2010s just because of that whole Carter 5 fiasco. Because, you know, his label wouldn't release Carter 5 and it kind of took 5 years. So his albums were I Am Not a Human Being, which I thought was released in 2000, but it was 2010. Carter 4, amazing album. I Am Not a Human Being 2. Carter 5. Notable songs: Uproar, 6 Foot, 7 Foot, She Will, John, and No Worries. Lil Wayne just stayed at the top of his game this decade, and I think he deserves to be number 6. He's one of the all-time greats, always will be. Metaphors, lyrics, flow, production, impact. You know, he's consistent and his longevity is incredible. He's still here, still in the game, just released Funeral this year, and I still think he's got a long career to go. So Lil Wayne at number 6. At number 5, I have Travis Scott. Travis Scott really took the decade by storm in the second half when he released Rodeo in 2015, I believe it was. You know, his whole style, he changed rap. I mean, he did. You know, Kid Cudi really influenced Travis Scott, and Travis Scott just took it from there and ran with it. He made his own sound, very incredible. You know, I really enjoyed that Owl Pharaoh mixtape he released. I first heard Travis Scott on Sin City on the Cruel Summer Good Music album compilation. Yeah, he's just amazing. His albums were Rodeo, Birds in the Trap, Sing McKnight, Huncho Jack Huncho with Quavo, Astro World, and Jack Boys, which is with his label. Notable songs: Sicko Mode, Goosebumps, Through the Late Night, Pray for Love, which is my favorite song by him, and Butterfly Effect. Travis Scott, I mean, his sound, he really changed his sound with Days Before Rodeo. That's where he found his sound, started influencing a bunch of people, and he's got a whole generation, just loving him. And he's amazing, really puts on the bangers, and Travis Scott, number 5. At number 4, I have Drake. Drake definitely deserves to be in the top 5. I mean, he was just amazing. He was the golden child of Young Money. Just everything he's done, incredible. I know he was on, what's that show? Degrassi. That's where he got his start, but he started rapping amazing, and he started singing, and his voice is just so velvety smooth that you can't not have him on there. So his albums were Thank Me Later, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, What a Time to Be Alive with Future, Views, The More Life Playlist, and Scorpion. Notable songs: Take Care, Fancy, Miss Me, Wu-Tang Forever, Energy, and One Dance. I think everything that Drake comes out with it's just gonna be a radio hit. Even the Tootsie Slide, he came out with this year was a hit. So he knows how to do it. He knows the music industry. He really knows how to make a hit. That Take Care album, one of the best hip-hop albums of all time. If I do a hip-hop album top list, it's in there. Take Care, amazing. My favorite song of his from the decade was Take Care with Rihanna. So Drake at number 4, it makes too much sense. He's just on top of the game. He honestly was on top of the game that decade, and even now, still on top of the decade. Can't wait to see what he does in the 20s. At number 3, I have J. Cole. J. Cole's one of my favorite rappers, one of my biggest influences. I love J. Cole. I think he can relate to people well. These top 3 artists are just so good with the pen. They're amazing lyricists. They're amazing storytellers, and J. Cole does just that. He is an incredible storyteller. He is very poetic, which is what I love. His albums were Cole World, Sideline Story, Born Sinner, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, For Your Eyes Only, KOD, Revenge of the Dreamers 3 with his record label Dreamville. Notable songs: Workout, No Role Models, Apparently, Crooked Smile, Wet Dreams, and ATM. I think J. Cole, he tells the truth. He puts his stuff out there. He bears his soul. He tells the truth. And that's why I love him. He's so real. He's impacted so many people's lives. And just everything he does is absolute fire. He's got the old school sound, keeps up with the modern day sounds, and J. Cole, number 3. At number 2, I have Kanye West. You guys know I love Kanye. It might come as a shock to have Kanye at number 2, but he really deserves that number 2 spot once you see what he came out with this past decade. His albums were My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which could be the best hip-hop album of all time, Watch the Throne with Jay-Z, the Cruel Summer album with the Good Music label, Yeezus, Life of Pablo, Ye, Kids See Ghosts, and he also did that 5 album produced Once a Week, I believe it was, with Ye, Kids See Ghosts, Pusha T, Tiana Taylor, and Nas. He also released Jesus is King, which I love that he's doing his own thing, and I actually liked Jesus is King. So notable songs: Power, All of the Lights, Monster, Who Gonna Stop Me, Mercy, Black Skinhead, Father Stretch My Hands, and Follow God. And his list just goes on. And he's so influential. Everything Kanye does really influences the rap game in the future, and people love working with him. I know that from interviews, and even Life of Pablo, when that came out, the whole Tidal fiasco where it was just on Tidal and everyone freaked out and then it was illegally downloaded a million times, that just shows how truly influential and impactful he is. This shirt is from the Ye and Kids See Ghost summer when he released all that merch and did the 5 albums. So Kanye is just amazing, even in the fashion world. Longevity, he's been doing it since the 90s. And Kanye, number 2, it doesn't get much better than Kanye. And at number 1, I have Kendrick Lamar. In terms of pure raw hip-hop skills, he's the best. Kendrick Lamar is just the best in terms of songwriting, flow, inflection in his voice, energy he brings, everything. Kendrick Lamar was the best of the decade, and I think there's no denying that. I don't know how you could get better than Kendrick Lamar. His albums were the Overly Dedicated mixtape, which I think is worth mentioning, Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, one of the best hip-hop albums of all time, Untitled, Unmastered, and Damn. Notable songs: Good Kid, Mad City, Poetic Justice, Backseat Freestyle, Money Trees, King Kunta, I, DNA, and Humble. My favorite album of his, I think, was Good Kid, Mad City or Damn. I really loved those two. To Pimp a Butterfly, though, that is a piece of literature that I think people should study. I think I did a report on Kendrick Lamar in English class in college. Definitely got like a B+ or an A- on it. But I think Kendrick Lamar knows how to do the social issues right. I think he knows how to write perfectly. His internal rhyme schemes, his rhyme schemes in general, amazing. It doesn't get better than Kendrick Lamar last decade, especially in terms of pure raw hip hop skills. He just does it the best. He also did that Black Panther soundtrack. Just Kendrick Lamar. I mean, I can't wait to see what he does in the 20s. I'm really waiting for another Kendrick album. I know Damn just came out in 2017, I believe. That was a very good album. Love Damn, but definitely best. Kendrick Lamar, number 1. So that's my list of top 10 best rappers from the 2010s. If you guys like the list, let me know in the comments. If you guys have any discrepancies, let me know. Who would you take out? Who would you put in? Or who would you switch around? Definitely let me know. I'm very keen to hear what you guys have to say. I think I got this list pretty good. There might have been a couple surprises, but you know, this is the past decade. That was my prime. Told you guys it was my prime. So I really love this decade. Love this decade of music. I think it was a pretty solid list. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. As always, you can listen to my music on all streaming platforms and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EJSpark1. And as always, it's peace, love. I love s'mores. EJ out.